Hello students, today we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions. If you will take your pink foldable, we're going to go ahead and fold it in. We've got fractional operations and we are going to just look at adding and subtracting fractions today. So if you will open up your foldable and feel free to pause this recording at any time as you need to. The first step for adding and subtracting fractions, don't forget you have to change all mixed numbers to improper fractions. Change all mixed numbers to improper fractions. That step is a must. Our second step is then you have to find the least common denominator by listing the multiples of both denominators. Denominators must be the same before you can add or subtract. Our third step, replace the denominators with the LCD, the least common denominator, and adjust the numerator as needed. Remember, what you do to the denominator, you must also do to the numerator. So step 3, replace the denominators with the LCD and adjust the numerator. What you do to the denominator, you must also do to the numerator. Number 4, use your integer rules or your rules for positive and negative numbers to add and subtract the numerators of the fractions. Once you have a common denominator, you either add or subtract the numerators. Remember, if you are subtracting, add a line, change the sign. Remember our little song or rap, same sign, I guess it was a song, same sign, add and keep the sign, different signs. You're going to subtract the two numbers and keep the sign of the number with the highest absolute value. The denominator stays the same. And then your last step is to simplify the fraction. So I'll hold that up open for a moment if you need to get the notes. Okay, let's look at example 1. We have 1/3 minus 3/4. Our first step is to change mixed numbers to improper fractions. We don't have any mixed numbers. So we're going to go to step 2, find the LCD by listing multiples of both denominators. So my denominators are 3 and 4, and you may not even have to list those. You might recognize right off the bat what the common denominator is. 3, 6, 9, 12, 4, 8, 12. There's our least common denominator. So how do you get from 3 to 12? You multiply times 4, so you have to multiply the numerator times 4. And then 4 times 3 is 12 in your second fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. So now we have 4/12 minus 9/12. We're going to use our integer rules to subtract these, and since we've got 4/12 minus 9/12 subtraction, we're going to add a line, change the sign. So we're actually adding a positive and a negative. We need to subtract the absolute values, so 9 minus 4 is 5. Our denominator stays the same, and think about it, is our fraction going to be positive or negative? Well, 9/12 has the larger absolute value, so our answer will be negative 5/12. Go ahead and pause this. Try example 2. Don't forget step 1 that you have to change all mixed numbers to improper fractions. When you finish, you can play this again to double check your answer. I'm going to change these to improper fractions first. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So I have 5/2 minus 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19 fourths. And if you look at your two denominators, you have 2 and 4. If you list your multiples 2, 4, well, the first multiple of 4 is 4. So 4 is your LCD. I'm going to have 19 fourths will stay the same. And then how do you get from 2 to 4 times 2? Then 5 times 2 is 10. So now we have 10 fourths minus 19 fourths. We have subtraction. So we're going to add a line, change the sign, and we have 10 fourths plus negative 19 fourths. My denominator stays the same. I subtract the absolute value, so 19 minus 10 is 9. My answer is going to be negative because negative 19 has the largest absolute value. And then I'm going to change this back to a mixed number. 4 goes into 9. We can divide 9 divided by 4. 4 goes into 9 2 times with 1 left over. So we're going to have negative 2 and 1/4. I hope you got that correct. Now, if you will go ahead and pause this video again and work example 3. And then when you have it worked, play the video to check your answer. Okay, students, so we are going to get a common denominator first. You can, as you see, this is subtraction. If you prefer, it's okay to go ahead, add a line, change the sign at the beginning if you want. And then we have negative 1 and 1/3 plus positive 3 and 9/10. So now we have to get our common denominator for both 3 and 10. And if you list those multiples out, 30 will be our common denominator. How do you get from 3 to 30? Well, 3 times 10 is 30. 1 times 10 is 10. Plus, don't forget your whole number. And we have a denominator of 10. 10 times 3 is 30. And 9 times 3 is 27. Just going to check it, make sure I'm doing it correctly. Okay, now once again, we're adding a positive and a negative. So remember, if your signs are different, you have to subtract those. But first, we need to change our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 30 times 1 is 30, plus 10 is 40, negative 40 over 30. Don't forget your negative sign. Plus 30 times 3 is 90, plus 27 is 117 over 30. Now we're adding a positive and a negative, so I'm going to subtract those. 117 minus 40, and I get 77 over 30. And is it positive or negative? 117 over 30 has the largest absolute value. So this will be positive. And then to get my mixed number, 77 divided by 30. 30 goes into 77 2 times. And we're going to have to, we have a remainder of 17 over 30. So 77 30th equals 2. And 17 over 30th, let me double check my sign, and it is positive, and I hope that you got that answer as well. Finally, example number 4, and I did not list add a line, change the sign until the 4th step. It is really okay if you want to do that at the beginning, especially on this one. It's nice. We see that we're just adding 2 positives. So now let's back up, change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17 thirds, plus 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17 fourths. We had 3 and 4 up here as denominators, and our common denominator for those we've already determined would be 12. So 3 times 4 is 12, so 17 times 4 is 68. And 4 times 3 is 12. 17 times 3 is 51. And we are going to keep the same denominator. I'm doing my work over here. Let's add those numerators. 68 plus 51 is 119 over 12. And let's get that as a mixed number. I'm going to work it out right here. 119 divided by 12. I'm not sure, so I'm going to do some checking. Over here, I'm going to multiply 12 times 9. 108. 12 times 9 works. So we have 9 and 11 twelfths. I take my denominator, put it over 12, and it is positive. Double check my signs. One example that we did not have was a negative plus a negative. And remember, if you have a negative plus a negative, you get your common denominators. A negative plus a negative is a negative, so don't forget that. But there are 4 examples for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.